Guys, this is your coach Marwan from Marwan Killer Fitness. We're down here in the beautiful surroundings of the Costa del Sol, beautiful weather, beautiful climate, and I had a couple of questions from people I was talking to earlier in the gym, and they asked me what my opinion was on cheat days, and so I thought I'll do a little video and explain my view on it. First of all, I don't like the word cheat days, okay? I don't like, whenever I hear the word cheat days, I think of people that are always on a diet. And a lot of people I speak to are always kind of on a diet. Now, diet for me is another word that I don't like because it means that you are restricting yourself to kind of foods that you can and cannot eat. And that's when typically people go astray because it's not sustainable. A diet is not sustainable. So something such as like the keto diet. Now, if somebody deprives of themselves of carbs for such a long time, they lose a lot of their they're going to lose a lot of weight, but then they're going to put all that weight on plus more because they basically deprive themselves of these foods. So I'm going to tell you guys couple of questions to ask yourself about before you have a cheat day and what to do instead of a cheat day. All right, I hope that will be helpful, which will be very helpful for you. So I said to you guys about that I don't like the word diet because the diet is too restrictive, and when something's too restrictive we're going to get cravings. That's perfectly normal, and it's only going to be a while before you actually start to go off your diet and start to have these foods. All right, so everyone wants to live a lifestyle, everyone wants to have fun, you only get one life, so to restrict yourself of having your favorite foods, okay, for the sake of, shall we say, having a physique does not make sense unless it's your job to make money from, unless this is your job and you're paid a certain amount of money to be at 5% level body fat every single week of the year, which brings me on to my two questions. One is, how motivated are you? All right, so you might look at yourself in the mirror and think, well, I'm not kind of that keen on my physique. I don't like the way I look anyway, so I might as well just go and have a cheat day. And two, what your goals are. So when you think of your goals, what is your goal? Is your goal to be at 5% body fat? Is your goal to be at 10% body fat? Okay, somebody who's at 5% body fat is going to have less of an ability to, or less room for maneuver to be able to cheat on their diet. Somebody who's like 10%, 12% body fat has got that a little bit more room for maneuver. There's a big difference between being lean, all right, and being ripped at 5% body fat, and that's why you see a lot of these competition athletes, or rather even these competition athletes that diet down for shows, they choose and pick a period of time when they will diet down, usually for about 12 weeks, okay, out of every year, when they can't have those treat meals, okay, but that's only when they're getting down towards the last week or 2 weeks. So you got to kind of pick and choose the moments of when to have these meals, because it's not sustainable to be eating a bodybuilder's diet of just chicken and broccoli and rice every single day. Okay, nobody wants to do that. I don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. I definitely don't eat, this kind of food. Yes, it's true. I don't have very many, shall we say, treat meals. And by treat meals, I define treat meals or cheat meals, shall we say, as like, fries or pizza or stuff like that. Yeah, I still have them, but I just don't do them as often as other people do. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips really to make to not to use cheat days, shall we say, okay? Because it's all psychological, it's all up here. So when you restrict yourself, like I mentioned earlier, if you restrict yourself on that you can only have certain foods on certain days, you are going to break out, okay? And all hell's going to break loose, because it's just the way we are wired up. It's just the way our hormones work. When you basically restrict yourself of all these foods, you're going to get cravings. So instead of saying, well, I can't have a pizza or I can't have a burger today because it's not my cheat day, and then kind of you're going to get more stressed because you can't go out with friends or family and you get time. Everything to go on that Friday or Saturday night when it's your turn to have a treat, to have a cheat day, to have all these foods. But if you suddenly change from this mentality of either everything on a Saturday, all or nothing, or either all or nothing at all, then you're going to start to see better results and you get less of the cravings. See, whenever you feel like having something, I always like kind of using an 80-20 or 90-10 rule, okay, depending on which way you fall. So 80% of the foods you have are what I call good foods, 20% of the foods that are not so good, okay? If you change the mentality to say on a Monday you're going out with your girlfriend, you're going out with your friends or family and they want to have a burger and it's not your cheat day, have a burger and fries, okay? I guarantee that when it comes to the Tuesday, when it comes to your cheat days, okay, after a while you're not going to have any cheat days because you're just going to think, well, I've got this food in front of me anyway. And if I can have this food every single day, all right, providing that you are looking at your goals, providing that you kind of know how much of these foods you're having, you're not going to be bothering with your cheat days because you've got that food right in front of you. And we know that from kind of life experience, when you have something in front of you, you're not going to be craving it as much. It's right there, it's available for you. So for me personally, I have an ice cream virtually every day in the summer. There hasn't gone a day where I've gone by where I haven't had an ice cream. And even now when I'm out here at the moment, sometimes I go through 2 ice creams a day. I still train, I still eat my normal meals, but if I wanted to have a certain meal, then I'm going to have a certain meal. And providing you are true to your goals, and by that I mean like your goal is to stay lean, then you are going to be able to stick to this kind of routine a lot easier because you know that there's a break at the end of it, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's very, very hard dieting down for like 4 or 5 days, even 6 days a week, and then doing everything on one day. And another reason why I don't like cheat days, because cheat days will turn into cheat weeks and cheat months, and then before you know it, you ask, well, can I eat all this food, providing that all this bad food, that pizza and whatever else, providing that I meet my macros? Well, yeah, you can eat it, but you're not going to be very healthy at the end of it. You're going to have high blood pressure, your levels of triglycerides are going to be up, your kind of inflammation markers are going to be going through the roof. Okay, so it's not something that is healthy or sustainable for a while. And there was a period of time where I went through these cheat days and I started having, kind of went from just having a pizza to having a pizza and everything else that I can have, I can lay my eyes on, basically, I get my hands on. So it was a pizza and then a garlic bread and it was a full tub of ice cream and then it was, anything else that I saw in the, that was available at that time. And it kind of, you get to a period of time where you cannot control it. And it's not about willpower, it's just the fact that these foods are designed to get into the brain barrier a lot easier than the normal foods do. Okay, they disrupt the chemicals in the brain, they disrupt the hormones, so it tricks the body into thinking that you are still hungry when you're not, even though you don't eat these kind of foods very much. So what I really want to say is, I'm not advocating that you go out and lower your diet kind of every single day and have a pizza every day. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, instead of having a cheat day and it's a Monday and you feel like having a pizza with your friends, then have a pizza. Providing that you know that you're going to be able to control the urge to have another pizza on a Saturday or have a full-on cheat day. And I guarantee that if you actually start having kind of incorporating cheat meals or not thinking about cheat meals as such, and these foods are prohibitive, then you find it a lot easier to stick to your diet and you get a lot better results. Another tip that I want to give you guys, there's always a right time and not such a right time to have your treat or cheat meal, whichever one you call it. So pizza after the gym will be more beneficial for you than having a pizza at the end of the night, okay? As much as you would like to have it in the evenings, at 9, 10 o'clock, an hour or two before you go to sleep, it's not recommended because you're just going to be very, very heavy and you're going to wake up, bloated and dehydrated.